And what was like really crazy was that each and every time we went into the OB appointments, his heartbeat was so strong. Like, every single time. It was so strong. And I ended up having to like make a decision by like 20 weeks, I think it was. They're like, if you make it to 20 weeks, they're basically, when I got off of the phone with my OB when I was like 19 weeks, she was basically letting me know that the baby could pass like within a week or next 2 weeks. And so they're like, if you make it to 20 or 22 weeks, then you need to like make sure you make that decision, because because getting an abortion won't be an option, basically, is what it was. So when 22 weeks came around, or 21 weeks came around, it was like between 20 and 22 weeks that I had to let her know. 22 sorry. Yeah, so it was between that time that I say we because it's like, I know that it's my body and my decision and what I want to do and what's best for me, and like, of course, like me and my existence, or me, I get it. On the other hand, it's very important to me, it's very, very important to me to consider him, my love, this person who I decided to create life with for the rest of my existence on earth, and to learn and experience the rest of life with. And so it's very important for me to consider him. So yeah, we made this decision together. I had to ultimately like know in my heart, like, okay, do I want to keep going to the doctor and waking up every morning and checking, what it looks like down there and what the signs are and what's going on, and have the anxiety of like everyone asking me, how are you doing? How's everything going? How's baby? What's the pregnancy like? And that type of stuff, because those types of questions were really difficult for me. And so like, I really had to ask myself, like, is this what I want to go through? Is this what I want to do? Is this part of my existence here? And so we did talk about that, and like my sign was that I had walked in by myself, and the time was like 111, which is like follow your intuition and follow your gut instinct. And so my intuition was telling me like don't, like, to not end the pregnancy, to continue the pregnancy, and to continue like fighting, because to continue fighting, because I knew that as a mother, I needed to do everything in my power to make sure that the baby was going to be okay, whatever that meant. And I didn't see abortion as a solution. I didn't see ending the pregnancy as a solution anymore, especially after the conversations that I had and the encounters that I had. So, after that gut feeling, like, well, when you go to a Kaiser appointment, especially because it's COVID now, the female goes in, you check your vitals and everything, and then they let you get ready for your ultrasound, and then they go and get your significant other from the waiting area and bring them in. And so then that's what happened, and like I saw 111 when my love wasn't in the room, and then when he came in, like I asked him and I was like, we really have to like make the decision right now, and he was like, yeah, I know. And then we like had a really good conversation, and then we prayed and ultimately made the decision to continue the pregnancy. And we let the doctor know. She was so sweet about it. She let me know that I was valid for feeling the way I was feeling, and like for making the decision that we made for continuing the pregnancy. Like we weren't crazy for continuing the pregnancy, and a lot of like the other OBs like kind of made it clear of their feelings of like what I should do. And so she made it clear that like she's like, I want you to know like the fact that you've made it to 21 weeks is beating the odds, and so it makes total sense that you guys are making this decision, and I'm like proud of you, and you're doing a great job of like how you're handling this. And it meant so much to like have that validation from the doctor to like tell me like, no, you're like you're valid, you know what I mean, to have that validation from someone who's like, who I could, you know, understand that would be like, no, it's best for you to just call it, you know what I mean. And that wasn't it. That wasn't it. And she understood that, and I love that. It means so much to me. And so like with that being said, like we just went home, and as you know, the pregnancy just continued, and October came around, and my biggest goal was like, okay, like just make it to Halloween, because making it to Halloween was like 30 weeks, was like super close to the full development. It was like, and technically like if he was like 30 weeks, then he would be like 28 weeks if he was really 2 weeks behind in development. And like, so I was like doing all these, like crunching all these numbers, and I was like, I just want to make it to, like, I really just want to make it to Halloween. Please make it to 31st. That's what my goal was. And so I had planned to have the baby gender reveal on October 9th, and I had already bought everything for the gender reveal, and then I had let my mother-in-law know, like I sent her the links for like the powder, but like the powder, you know, that she could get in the right color. And then and also at this point in the pregnancy, I had already like been trying to positively like manifest that the baby was going to come out healthy, and the baby's going to be okay, and I was going to go full term. And so I was already putting the baby registry together for the baby shower. So the baby shower registry was already done, and the stuff for the gender reveal was already purchased and mailed. So we had that going because I had planned for October 9th. And then October 6th came around, and it was like a totally normal day. My love was going to a studio sesh that night with one of his producers, and out in LA, and they went to they were there like he was gone until like probably about 1:30 in the morning, and that's like totally normal. So like also my mother-in-law, she went out, like it was she went out that night, and was going to be home in the morning. And so we had, so it was like a totally normal day. My love had a studio session planned that for that day, or that evening basically, with his producer, one of his producers, and they went out to LA and had a studio session. And then my mother-in-law, she went out. It was going to be back in the morning, and so it was just me and my daughter and my little brother-in-law, and we were like, kicking it, and I ordered us Chick-fil-A from DoorDash, and then we like when we were having dinner, I like felt weird from eating, and then I went to shower, I went to bathe Ayla, I went to bathe my daughter, and then after we were done with that, we were sitting on the couch watching a little bit of TV, and I began to cramp, and it was like 8:30 at night, and I began to cramp, and then it was like every 30 to 45 minutes, and it was happened for like 2 hours, and then we ended up going downstairs to our room, and we were just relaxing, like watching a movie down there together. She was watching like the Lorax, like I had put it on for her, but I was watching the I was watching Yes to the Dress is what I was like hooked on at the time. So I was watching that, and then I was also just like communicating with my love, like, hey, I'm cramping and it feels like it's consistent. I'm not really sure. I'm just wanting to communicate with you and like let you know that like I'm feeling a little anxious, and know that, so that you know what's going on. And he was like totally supportive, like you're gonna be okay, and I'm on my way home soon, so just know like I'm gonna be there so soon. And then I was texting my mother-in-law, and she was just being really supportive, and had it was pretty late at that time. It was about 10:30, 11:30, so there's like points where she didn't text back, and I'm assuming, I would assume that, and she let me know that she was just like in and out of sleep, and I can totally understand that. And she just like explained that, like, in that moment she was like completely in and out of sleep, and that's totally understandable. So I obviously didn't really know for sure that I was in labor. Like, I was like, is this Braxton Hicks? What's going on? I'm not really sure exactly. So I just wanted to make sure that I was communicating to my mother-in-law and my love about what was going on. And so when my love got home, it was about 1:30. My daughter was already sleeping, and at that point the cramping was about 10 minutes apart, and I was like, this is serious, and I love you, like we actually need to go and like find a ride there, or like Uber, or we can like call the ambulance, have mother-in-law come home, and Dylan's upstairs, and her, like, our brother-in-law is upstairs and can come down and be with our daughter downstairs in her room while we leave. So that's what we were like trying to figure out very quickly. And very fortunately, I called my best friend VG, and she answered like 2-3 rings, and I'm telling you, it's like 1:45 in the morning, and I'm like, hey. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, no. And she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I think I'm in labor. Are you busy right now? And she's like, no. And I was like, I was like, can you please come and get me and take me to the hospital? Take me and my love to the hospital, please. And she was like, of course, like I'm gonna be there in 10 minutes. Don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. And then she clicked and was over literally like in 10 minutes. And then, we jumped in the car and we drove over, and it was incredible. We ended up pulling up, literally like pulled up to the ER, and it was 2:22 a.m. on her car, and I was like, what? And so like we went in, everyone, like when we were checking in, the people were really kind. They like we went in upstairs, and unfortunately like they held Anthony back for a while before as they hooked me up and like tested me and make sure that like to see what was really going on. And then they saw that like they saw that my love like needed to like be present with me, and so he was invited into the room. And then then the OB that was like on call that night came in, and she brought the then they like let the OB. So after my love was brought in, they let the OB that was on call know that I was there and that I was in labor, and that they couldn't find a heartbeat. They were having a really hard time finding the heartbeat, and so I was having a really hard time like dealing with that. And I was like just quiet and praying over and over that like I'm creating happy and healthy babies, like what my affirmation was throughout this whole pregnancy and my last pregnancy. So I kept saying that and affirming that. And so the OB came in with the ultrasound machine. She was able to find the heartbeat, which was so like gratifying, and I was so grateful. And then they like put the other small machine on me. They let the OB know that was on call that they were having a hard time finding the heartbeat. So then the OB came in with an ultrasound machine and used that to try to find the baby's heartbeat, and was successful, and that was really satisfying. It made me really happy because I was really afraid. I was really afraid in those moments, just like if it had happened inside me, I was afraid of that. And so it's just like that was really difficult. And then after that, she was just explaining to me like what my options were, and like what what my options were, and what I could like potentially do. And my understanding was that we were gonna have like my understanding was that we were going to have a C-section for sure, because that was in best interest of me and baby, from the like physical action of going into the uterus and removing the baby and the placenta physically eliminates the potential of the abruption hemorrhaging and me needing a blood transfusion and me dying and all those what ifs. So that was my understanding. It also like was best for baby, because baby could get it's quicker, to cut open and grab and give to NICU, rather than, who knows, you don't really know how long you're pushing for, and it could get to a point where it turns into an emergency C-section in anyway. So in that moment, I had already known that I had already knew that I was there for a C-section, but she made it really confusing for me, when I was making that decision, because she made it seem like the NICU, the option of having the NICU help the baby and take the life-saving measures on him would be an okay option after I gave birth to him naturally. It was really confusing the way that she put it, and there wasn't nearly enough time at all for me and my love to have an effective conversation about, like, if we wanted to potentially consider having the baby naturally, and if we did, then we could do comfort measures, is what she finally got to the bottom of her understanding, and then finally made us understand, is that comfort measures is what would be appropriate in that sense, is what I already had the understanding. And comfort measures refers to simply just naturally giving birth, and then just skin to skin, until baby passes naturally. And I had already made the decision in my mind that physically, like here on earth, that if I have the choice to, like, do everything in my power to help my son survive, or help my child survive, do everything in my power to help my child survive and help and so then I'm going to do that, because as a mother, that's what I need to do, like, everything in my power to make sure that he's going to be okay, that he gets the help that he needs. And that was my intentions completely, and it was really frustrating to have her be so, like, in my face about the obvious potential of him passing away. And she really rudely and, like, in a really disgusting way made it very clear, like, your child's gonna die if you have him vaginally, or your child's gonna die if you have him C-section. Your child's gonna die if you have him naturally, and your child's gonna die if you have him via C-section. And either way, it's gonna be a traumatic experience, is basically what they were telling me. And so that was, like, really difficult for me, because I was like, why did you even bring up having him naturally when we already had this understanding? But obviously we didn't have this understanding, because unfortunately Kaiser has, like, this weird system with their, like, OB department, and there's like 7 or something, or 8 OB. So there's, like, some type of, like, split shift system going on where, like, half of them are doing the appointments in the Kaiser office, and then half of them are doing the on-call emergency OB issues at the ER in the main hospital. So, like, there's this so when you go into a Kaiser, where I'm at anyway, there's, like, multiple OBs, so each appointment you go to is with a different OB. And the OB that delivered my daughter is the same OB that delivered my son. So, mind you, but I've never had a actual prenatal appointment with her. Like, I've never seen her in the office at, like, the Kaiser office where I have made prenatal appointments ever. So I was, like, kind of taken back by, like, the fact that it was her again, and I didn't have the greatest experience with her either last time, so it was kind of difficult. But I was, like, trying to just, like, love my way through it and be okay. And so that was just hard. I ended up making the decision to do the C-section, and once I said that, there was, like, multiple people coming in. It was, like, totally a scene out of Grey's Anatomy. It was totally a scene out of Grey's Anatomy. I was, like, there was, like, so many people doing so many different things. I was, like, being shaved, and I was, like, being poked, and they're, like, take your earrings off, and your jewelry, and, your hair up, here's your hairnet, your booty. Like, they're getting me ready and set for the OR. Like, it was real life Grey's, guys. It was so, I was like, okay. And, like, they was, like, wheeling me on the bed, and I was like, bye, love, I love you. And, like, he was like, I love you too, you got this. And, like, I'm wheeling in, and they're like, there's, like, there's two different ways to numb when you, like, have that surgery. So you could do a spinal tap or general anesthesia, where they put you fully under, and the spinal tap is, like, a numbing of the body, of the spine. Basically, like, you're basically paralyzed from the neck down or something like that. And I'm sorry if I'm not right about that, by the way. Because for me, like, my understanding was that I was gonna get a spinal tap, but as they were wheeling me into the OR, and they, like, were like, can you scoot over on your own? And I was like, yes. And, like, scoot over onto the OR table, and then they're like, all I hear is, like, general, and I'm like, and the anesthesiologist is like, okay, do you know what that means? And I was like, yes. And he's like, okay, we're gonna put you fully under now. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You just need to let my love know, because he's got big feelings and he cares a lot about my well-being. So it's very important that you make sure you're very clear to him about, like, what's appropriate and where he needs to be, and, like, all that type of stuff. And the nurses were like, okay, like, for sure, we're gonna make you know, of course, not for sure, of course, you know, type of thing. And, like, so and so then we went in, and then the anesthesiologist put the mask over my head, over my mouth. But the anesthesiologist let me know that excuse me, the anesthesia is going to be a little spicy in my throat. And then he put the mask on, and then, like, it went black after that. Like, I have no memory of what happens, like, between then and then. I, like, begin to hear, and when I begin to hear, I just hear things like, it was quite short, but it was over and over, like, you know, Angela, are you okay? Can you hear me? Can you move something? They let me know, like, baby, they let me know baby and dad are in NICU, and that the surgery went well. Everything's gonna be okay. Are you okay? Can you move anything? Please try to move anything. You know, and I was like, trying to move my feet because I could hear all of this. I'm hearing all of these people talk to me, but I'm not physically able to move a muscle or open my eyes or respond to them in any way. But my conscious is like, I'm able to like hear them, and I'm able to like, you know, I'm here, like I'm here and my physical is here, you know, and I'm like, I'm aware of my physical body, and I feel like I move my foot or my toe. I moved like way down. It was like way down below my, you know, mind, my up here. And so, where my, like below my mind. So I, was just, I found myself screaming that I was awake and that I was okay and I was alive, and like that I was trying to move my feet and I was trying to open my eyes and wave and like grab and everything, like take the, like just, I was trying to move as much as I could, but I couldn't, and it was the scariest thing. And this guy is like, I'm screaming and these people are talking to me, and then the anesthesiologist is like opening my eyelids over and over, and I like see him, and I see the OR, and I see like the nurse, and like it was definitely like an out of body experience. It was definitely crazy. It was definitely crazy to experience, like, for sure. And it goes black like shortly after. It just goes blank again, like I was like put under again or something like that. But it just went blank, like nothing happened. It just was like, that's it. Like, it was black. And then I began to like open my eyes. I'm not really sure how long afterward, of course, but I began to open my eyes, and then I see a clock and the TV, and I'm in this big room, and it's nice. But I'm like, this is weird, why am I over here? But it's nice, I'm not mad. And then there's like a person, a nurse, and another nurse, and like a nurse that's like in a different color. Two women and a man, and like they notice that I'm awake, and they're like, oh, hello, like, welcome back. And I'm like smiling with my, trying to smile, but I'm intubated. I'm intubated, you know, it's like taped up your cheeks, and then the tube goes down your throat. And if you know about like what being intubated is like they inflate a balloon down at the bottom of your esophagus or your throat or something like that to like control the airflow, so that the ventilator machine is actually pumping air to the lungs and then coming back out into the ventilator, and you know, the process continues. And so I'm like trying to respond as well as possible with that in my body. And so that was a little difficult, and I found myself like extremely dehydrated, and I could only imagine like whatever at that point, especially like however long I was with the intubation in, my mouth is obviously going to be dry because it's sitting there open. And so I was trying to like sign water I like know the alphabet in sign language, or else at least I thought I did, and I totally forgot how to do T. And so I did W and A, and then like the other nurse like couldn't get it, like the two nurses couldn't get it, and so then another nurse came in and she was like, "What are you trying to say?" And I did like this sign that's like, it's technically Y, but it's like hang loose like sign. But like I did it like towards my mouth. But mind you, like when I woke up, I realized that like I was put in the psych ward constraint like wristband things that are like connected to the bed. And so I didn't have the opportunity to like fully put my hand to my like mouth. So I was just doing the action like from my wrist. And she saw that and she understood like, "Oh, you need a drink." And I was like, "Yeah." Like, I'm dehydrated. She's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You need the water?" And I was like nodding my head, and she's like, "We'll get it for you." And I would like sign like thank you from my wrist. And so yeah, I was like just patient. They were like getting a lot of stuff ready and like making sure that I was okay. Just like running like my vitals and that type of stuff. And then during all of that, what was really difficult was that it was just like realized that the sound of the ventilator was like matched my breathing. Like I would hear the ventilator like, you know, like make the noise where it like sucks down, and like it's just really uncomfortable. I was like, this is kind of weird, like what the heck. And so that lasted for like 20 minutes. I was waiting for someone to come. So I was waiting for a particular person to come and extubate me. So it took about 20 minutes, and when he came, he like explained to me what was gonna happen and how I was gonna do it, and like what I should do, like how I should try to breathe in a certain way. And so he like did something to like to deflate the balloon, and then like pulled it out of my throat, and it is not it, that ain't it. So yeah, like that was really uncomfortable. That was a relief. And the first person that I talked to after I was finally able to like breathe and talk on my own, when they finally pulled like when they extubated me, I looked I looked over at my nurse, and I was like, "Hi." And she was like, "Hi, I'm Aurora." And I was like, "Hi." And she was like, "Hi." And I was like, "What's your name?" And she was like, "My name's Aurora. What's yours?" And I was like, "I'm Angie." And I was like, "Nice to meet you." And she's like, "It's nice to meet you." And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Thank you for your help." And she was like, "You're welcome." And then like my nurses were amazing. Like, shout out to my nurses, they're freaking amazing. All my nurses that were like for me, that like, you know, you encountered me, thank you. And so then like after, you know, I finally got some water, and then the first phone call that I had to the room was my dad, and that was like really nice to just be able to like talk to him and like he was let me know like what happened. I didn't really know exactly what happened. I didn't ask. I just like kind of thought it was normal to wake up from a C-section the way I did. So I was like, oh, I must be in the like I must be close to the labor and delivery room. Like I didn't feel like I was like out of place. So my dad was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I was like, the baby's in the NICU. And he was like, that's great. And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, you scared me. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, you scared all of us. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, your mother-in-law let us know that you weren't waking up. And I was like, what? And he was like, you weren't waking up. And he was like, the doctor said you weren't waking up. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, you weren't waking up. That is what I'm saying. Like, you went under and you weren't waking up. Like, that's what they told us. Like, and I was like, okay, my gosh, like, I didn't know. Like, and then it, like, my first instinct was like, I'm sorry to scare you. Like, it wasn't my fault. I'm sorry, I didn't know. You know, like, it wasn't my intention to, like, have a near-death experience and scare everybody. You know, but I'm like, I love you, Dad, and I'm here, and I'm so happy to hear your voice and talk to you. You don't understand. And he's like, well, same over here, like, you know. And so we just like talked for a while, and he like, I was so glad that I was able to like, talk to him. I think it was really significant that he was like first, that I was like first to talk to him. Like, I love my dad. He's great. Shout out to my dad. You did a great job raising me. So, on that note, the next person that, like, called was my love, and he was on his way to the NICU to see the baby, and then he let me know that he was going to come see me afterward, and so I was excited for that, and then when he came, he let me know his, like, point of view and like what happened when I was like on the ventilator and whatnot. So I just want to give you like a small snippet of like what my love went through. Like, he went to like they allowed him to go into the OR for the C-section, which they usually don't do, because when they put you under general, they usually don't let the significant other in there. And so, but they did, and then he, you know, received baby, and like he went with him to NICU for a little while, and then after it was like the same time that I wasn't waking up, that they had kicked him out of the NICU and said that I had tested positive for COVID. And that was like really difficult for him, because he was like, what do you mean I can't be in here? Like, then go get me a COVID test. Like, go get me a rapid COVID test. And then he sat there for hours, and like every nurse that passed by, he was like, can you get me a rapid COVID test? You have them. Like, you can get me any type of COVID test, and I will patiently wait. Like, what's the issue? And then fortunately, like, they were like super rude about it, and like didn't fulfill that until basically I was waking up. And then they finally were like, oh, it's okay, we're gonna give you the COVID test. Oh, looks like you tested negative. Here, you can go and go and see your kid again, and see your wife, because guess what, she's waking up. Like, it was just really uncomfortable and coinkadinkle, if you know what I'm saying. So it was like just really like it really tested, like, I don't know, my trust with, like, that expertise. And so it was really difficult to, like, to know that he experienced that. And, like, as much as difficult as it is for the female, it's absolutely 100% more, like, it's 100% just as difficult for the male that is in the situation. For real. That's just real life. And some men can be tapped into that, and some men aren't. And I'm really lucky that my man is. Truly. Yeah. So after he went to go see baby in the NICU, he came to see me, and then we talked for a while about what, like, happened. He let me know that we had a boy. I was like, what is, like, hello, what's the baby? And he was like, it's a boy. And I was like, oh, Andre. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, do you love him? And he's like, I love him. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to meet him. And then, like, he showed me pictures, and, you know, he's in a little, like, incubator with, like, all the little thingy things connected to him. And I just was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to meet him. And then Anthony was like, and then my love, he had to go to the restroom, so he decided to go potty. And then when he was going, I got a phone call, and it was the NICU, and they were like, can you please send Dad down to the NICU? And I was like, yeah, of course. And then so I sent so I, like, was just waiting for my love. I was just waiting for my love to get back from the bathroom, and then he walked in and was walking fast and was like, I have to go down to the NICU. Can I take the phone? And I was like, of course. He had left his phone in VG's car, actually, I think it was, or something like that, or on his studio. He just didn't have his phone. We only had my phone. So he was like, yeah, he was like, I didn't even get to pee. The nurses let me know that I have to go down to the NICU. And I said, okay, go. I love you. Thank you for being there for our son. And then he said, I love you too, you're welcome, and then ran out. And then, like, minutes later, the nurses came in, and they, like, were like, are you ready to go meet your son? And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I didn't know that I was, like, ready to do that physically. And I was like, are you sure I can do this? Like, I physically can do this? You're sure? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna help you. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know how this works. Like, my last baby was natural. And so she was like, it's okay, we got you. And then they, like, asked me how I was feeling, and I let them know that, like, I understood that God has a plan for me, and that no matter what I want or what, like, I think is best, like, God is gonna make the decision at the end of the day, and, like, I am gonna have to live with whatever that decision is. And so I already had that understanding. So I let them know that on the way there, and then we got there and we rolled in, and and my love was holding Andre, and I was like, you're holding him. That's amazing. And then he looked at me very serious, and I knew in that moment, like, that I had reacted in like the wrong way. It wasn't like the right way, or I realized in that moment that him holding him wasn't a positive thing. And then I said, oh, I said, did he pass away? Is he? And then he just nodded and was like, excuse me, he was like, yes, Mama, he passed away. And then I said, okay, may I hold him? And then he was like, yes. And then they like got me comfortable and set me up with some pillows and stuff. And I realize now that it's like I met my son's physical body. And his soul and DNA, like his soul and DNA courses through me and is always with me as his excuse me, as his mom. So it's just really difficult for me. It has been difficult for me. I think I'm definitely in a better place now, but it's been difficult for me to wrap my head around the fact that I met my son dead, and that's like just really difficult for me. But I'm understanding now that I met my son's physical body. I met his like vessel, like his, you know, his little boat, his little life, you know, the physical part of him. And I had the opportunity of studying him, and, you know, I watched the nurses and my love give him a little like washcloth bath, and they put him in this sweet jacket that I put on this lion that I refer to as Andre, or AD, Andre David. And yeah, like this lion is really significant. A little tangent. It's significant because lions are my love's favorite animal, and elephants are my favorite animal. And my daughter, I really like encourage my daughter to like elephants, and so my love was really excited to encourage our son to like lions. So I put this particular lion on his registry, and I ended up asking my life coach to, like, she asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I asked her for this stuffed animal. And it means so much to me. I sleep with it every night, and I'm like so unashamed of like rekindling that like child part of me that loves stuffed animals and like cherishing them like that. I used to have like a grip of them when I was growing up. My dad used to love that. I say that he used to love it. Yeah, no, he didn't really like it all the time because I had so many. It was like my entire bed could be filled with them, but it wasn't like a particular like thing. It was like I had a plethora of different. I had like Braveheart. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm tangenting. Anyway, I'm just really glad that I like have rekindled this love for stuffed animals, and I'm sharing that like with my daughter, and I get to like sleep with my son, you know, and I just picture him like just being, he's technically 6 months, April 7th. So that is really significant because that's his half birthday. And that means it's been half a year since his transition, and that's really scary for me. But I'm handling it. And I'm doing this work from source and honoring him in this way, and it means a lot for me. It makes a lot of sense to me and is doing a lot for me, and I think that's what matters, But yeah, just wanted to share that quick tangent. But yeah, they gave him a quick little bath and put him in this sweet little jacket that we got to take home. Excuse me. And they also had a lot of different keepsake trinkets that we got to take home, which was really really dope. That there's a community out there that's just out there willing to particularly help with people who go through this type of stuff. It's man, it's a lot, let me tell you, but it's definitely you can get through it. It's definitely what I need to make clear, is that you can. Sorry, let's continue. So they let us know that we had the opportunity to have Andre brought to the room if we wanted to spend some quality time with him, or special time with him, because down in the bottom of the hospital or something they have a mortuary, so they're able to keep his body, so that preserve his body, so that we're able to just be with it for our stays, is what we're what was appropriate. So we excuse me, he was born Friday, and then we went home Sunday night and said our final goodbyes on Sunday night to his physical body, and then knew that we had the opportunity to say goodbye one more time at his funeral service. So we were looking forward to that. So that's basically the experience as a whole. Obviously, it's very clear. If you're not aware of grieving or grief, it's never ending. So the experience, if you will, really is never ending, in my opinion. So I'm just sharing this part of this experience. And I definitely have learned a lot, and I'm really this part of this experience has been most traumatic and unpleasant. Yeah, overall this experience has been traumatic and unpleasant, and it makes me feel inspired, because although it took me a long time, it felt to actually see the positives in this experience. And in the past year of my life, I have built this renowned strength and faith in myself that is like never before, and I'm really grateful for that. So the last thing to close up that experience is that it's just so important to like know that like the little things matter. My son was 1 pound 7 ounces, and even though he was so little and dead technically, I still loved him like with everything in me, and looked at him with like he was the purest thing on this earth. And so I just want you to know, like, I want to make it like very clear that we all have the capability to. So it's time to see this experience through the Mellow Magnifying Glass. So let's get into it. I made a list. You know me and my lists. Let me tell you, I love lists. Period. Okay? And I'm unashamed. So here's my list of the little joys that I have magnified very, very much. Very much so. Number one being that I got the pee on a stick experience when we found out I was pregnant with my daughter. We found out at the hospital because I thought I was sick, so we didn't get the pee on a stick experience, and this time we did. I had the opportunity to surprise the father of my children on Father's Day with the potential of me being pregnant, and that was actually, like, I actually was pregnant, and I was sick that I was able to accomplish that. Like, that really is, like, gratifying. Another thing that I magnify, like I said before, is that undeniable strength that I have within myself, and that goes back to just the simple fact of, if you didn't know, that when you have children, when you create life as a woman, your body is sharing, blood and DNA and cells and that type of stuff. So even no matter what your child does afterward in regards to surviving, you're always going to have your child's DNA coursing through your blood. So I recently just thanked Andre for my warrior blood, is like what I refer to it as, and I just told him thank you for installing this strength in my blood that's coursing through. It makes me feel like I can handle anything, and I can tackle anything and overcome any situation, and we have the abilities to do that. We have the ability to handle any difficulty. The next thing that I wrote was, it's clear to me who's a part of my soul family. It's clear to me who means the most to me, and who I can count on, and who's reliable and who's not, and who is open and who's closed, and who's all the things to that effect. It made it very, very clear to me about that. It made it clear that there are areas in my life where I don't have control, and I have to be okay with that. Period. There's no there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, for real. I have to be okay with the fact that there's things that I cannot control. Period. I had the opportunity and the honor to have my first son, my very first boy, and I had the opportunity to like continue a lineage and name my son, like I was able to give my son the last name Zerpolo, which is my dad's last name and one of my brother's last names, which is my last name. Oh, sorry, which is like, my family's last name. It's just an iconic name for me and my experience. Like, it just means a lot. I had the honor of experiencing his physical body and like what his vessel would have been like in the physical sense with me, and that was an honor. I magnify the fact that I'm alive. I magnify the fact that I'm still here and I came out on the other side, and I've come out on the other side of that entire experience, and I'm still here until this day doing this and honoring him and stepping out of my comfort zone and doing something that feels totally weird, balls off the walls, sorry. But like, yeah, it's really uncomfortable, but I'm enjoying myself, but I'm also pushing through walls, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, excuse me, the next thing that I wrote down was I see my daughter in a new light. I am able to be more present with her and love her the way that I really want to be able to love her. Now we also have like a whole guardian angel upstairs that like just is watching over us, and that is so incredible. I see death in a new way. I like love dead flowers. I like enjoy, like I almost not enjoy an encounter with death, but like I don't want to watch no scary movies. Don't ever ask me to watch a scary movie. That's not me. I'm not with the horror movies and the horror scenes and the horrors and blood and nose. I'm all about the like animation, Pixar, Disney, like that type of stuff. And Disney's really like slowly doing they're walking away from, yeah, anyway, but like that's, yeah, but what I'm trying to like explain, I guess, is like I appreciate death. It's like I see it as a new beginning or a different ending, it's like, I don't know, I see it in a new light is what I'm trying to say, like I said the first time. So oh yeah, the next thing that I'd like to magnify is, since this happened, I have recommitted myself to Christ, to Source, and that was an incredible experience at the Lighthouse Church. The worship was so powerful, and I'm just really grateful that like I was able to be reminded that I'm not alone, and that excuse me, that like the provider will always provide, and he continues to show me that he does, and has never stopped showing me that he does, and will never stop doing it. Never stop being there for me. And so, yeah, I just want to magnify that. The last two things is that many different relationships that me and Andre's dad are like a part of or have encountered, or like, family relationships and like things to that effect, have been like mended, morphed, or rekindled in some kind of light. And I'm just like really proud of like the work that my son has done behind the scenes. Like he's such a warrior. He's done so much, and I'm so proud of him. The last thing is that this experience has taught me so many things about myself that I need to know, many things about myself that I need to unlearn, and just reminded me who I was, who I am at my core, which is love and light, and instill that strength in me that I can tackle and can handle any cards that are dealt or any situation that comes up and any difficulty that comes up, because we are 100% capable of handling every experience with love. And we do have the strength and the ability to see each and every experience that we have on earth with with positive intention and with light behind the eye. So I'm just really grateful that this experience has shown me the significance in the little things. My son being 1 pound 7 ounces, and that life is short, and his life being simply 7 hours, and 7 hours has moved mountains, and it's incredible what magnifying the little things can do for you. And that's what I'm here to share with you guys. So yeah, I'm grateful for all these things, and my son, and my life, and the opportunity to love the world this way. So yeah. The last thing that I am going to leave you with in this episode is what you can expect going forward. And you can expect episodes on Fridays at 7 a.m. And you can find them where you find your podcasts. It's easiest to find on YouTube. And if you prefer only the audio, then it's really it's as simple as typing rss.com into your search engine, and then Mellow Magnifying Glass into their search option on the website, and then you'll see all the options, all the places that the podcast is posted and available. So just know that is always available to you guys. Also, there's going to be an added segment to Mellow Magnifying Glass called The Mellow Talks. And it's just going to consist of conversations with people, whoever you guys may want as guests, or whoever I feel I want to have on as guests. And we would just basically be chopping it up about whatever topic that you guys may have let me know about, or whatever topic that I may think is really important to hit, and just to or maybe even just something that I think a particular person would just be sick to talk about with, so that's just what that segment is about. Definitely expect me to roll a few, so don't be surprised, you know what I'm saying? That's all I gotta say. I want to make it clear that the podcast is inspired by my son and inspired by the difficult experience that I had, and I'm bringing light to that, and make it clear that there's going to be a plethora of topics that are going to be talked about, and to not solely expect things that are about pregnancy or women or angel babies and those like things to that effect. I really want to make it clear that there is gonna be a spectrum of topics, so everybody can possibly have something to take from this, because you know that I just want source to speak through me, and I don't know what I'm doing, but you know it's me. Okay, yeah, so that's how I feel. That's a wrap, and I'm always gonna leave you with this: life is what you make it. Every day you wake up, it's a blank canvas that we get to fill with our experiences, and it's a new opportunity to begin again, to start fresh. And that's just something that you just gotta remember every morning. Writing myself every morning is much easier said than done, but that's why I'm doing it. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, whether that was via audio or via YouTube. I am so honored to be flowing through sounds to those who want to hear a message, are open and are in need of whatever, or are searching for something from source, and I'm able to provide that for you, and I'm so excited to even have this opportunity to do this. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget to stay connected on the socials at Mellow Magnifying Glass. It's the same across all the social medias.